Do you remember which one was the first one of those you've ever seen or touched?
Yes. Yes, I do, Red Mage. Yes.
Thank you very much. This is the third time that you mentioned the thing that I wanted to recommend. You got it.
It's a guessing contest at this point.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Toadie's Googling if he's in Mario Kart World.
I'm just Googling who it is.
Welcome to Save Stage and Fetch Quests, where we jump back in time to the games that defined our childhood. Each episode we head down the green pipes to discover a subworld full of our beloved retro titles, sharing our memories, exploring what made these games so special, and uncovering the secrets of their lasting appeal. Whether you're here for the warm and fuzzy fire flowers of times past, or just discovering the mushrooms in these classics for the first time, we've got something for you. Hi listeners! My name is Red Mage, and together with Hampy, Ras, and Toadie, we're talking with... God, yes, this is how the intros work. We do this in one take, right? So we are taking some time today to discuss plumbers, Coopers, Goombas, and the like, as we are discussing the home console origins of Mario and his brother, Luigi Mario. Everyone has some fond memories of the Mario Brothers, right? Toadie, Hampy, Ras?
Yes.
Yahoo!
Yeah, only good stuff.
Welcome, friends.
Let's go.
So, yeah, we're looking at the Mario games today, the NES classics, everything. And Ras, what was your first NES game that you played from the Mario series?
Well, the answer to that question is the same because it's also the answer to the question, what's my first video game? It was a NES console that was shipped with Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers 1. And Super Mario Bros. 1 is the one of those that I played first. And I was way too young to understand what happened, and I don't think I ever made it out of 1, 2, legitimately ever.
That's very fair. I think we're all a little too young for having experienced Mario at release properly, right? Because...
Yeah, I was 4 when it was released. It was 68?
86, yes. The other way around.
86, yeah. 86, yeah, I'm that old that I turn the numbers around.
Yes.
86, yeah, I was 4 when it was released. So
I was 2 when it was released, so yeah. I've played it way after that as well. Toadie, you're having a face on there. How about you?
I have a question.
Yes.
So unrelated. We're already sidetracking here. Was Duck Hunt ever released for the SNES? No, right?
No.
No. So I must have had a NES.
Oh.
Because
the
I know
Zapper
I played
was
Duck Hunt, and I can see the Zapper.
Because there are very
So-
similar games for Super Nintendo with the
Super Nintendo got the bazooka thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all very blurry. All right.
Do you remember which one was the first one of those you've ever seen or touched?
Yes. Yes, I do, Red Mage. Yes. I think the answer for me is that I've actually only played the original Mario, 1 on the NES. I don't remember P-Speed at all because I've watched videos on them, of course. So I never played 3, and because I never had the Tanuki tail, and I never played 2. So I think I only played 1. I know I played it somewhere. Not often, because I didn't own a NES. My first console was a SNES.
I mean, same for me.
So I'm just here to vibe.
No, that's fine. I also never owned an NES myself. First console, home console that I owned was a PlayStation, so completely off that. So, but Hampy, how about you? What was the first one that you played?
The first Mario game I played was Super Mario World, because I was made in 92. So I completely missed on the NES era. I think I first knew about the NES when I was like 15 or something. It's like, whoa, there was a console before the Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Similar here.
But I have experienced the games we're going to talk about today through the All-Star collections.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because that was on the SNES,
Yes.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe that's how
four,
I know it.
all four of the original Marios re-released on the Super Nintendo
Yes.
in updated graphics.
So good.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it was we borrowed a console from my mom's friends. They had an NES, and they had at the time already Super Mario Bros. 3 with it. So that was the one that I gravitated to because getting thrown into a world to play versus booting up SMB3 and having the overworld to look at. I mean, that was a decisive difference. But basically, I played 1 and 3 at the same time, and I think they also had 2, but I'm not 100% sure. But it would be the European 2, of course, or the non-Japanese 2, as we will talk about later. All right, so let's then jump right in and God, all these jump puns, brain. And talk a little
Boing.
bit about the original Super Mario Brothers. So, the original Super Mario Brothers, as we already said, released in 1986, and it was basically already a successor to the arcade games that Nintendo has published, but they didn't bring over the arcade games initially to the NES. They waited, I think, a year or so in order to bring that over again. But yeah, released in 1985 in Japan, released in 1986 in North America, and then Europe got it, I think, in 87 actually. So there is quite a variety because back in the day, release dates were not really too much of a thing because we didn't have something like the internet where we would get all hyped up and everything. And yeah, initially released with the NES as well as we mentioned, Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers were on the same cartridge, part of a single ROM cartridge, and yeah, first game, first 8 worlds to discover, and I probably never played past World 4 in my back then plays, and even going back to it today, I struggle with the game because of how different the physics are in the game compared to the more modern titles. I mean, if you look at releases like Super Mario Maker and Maker 2, where you can play basically the same stages, but with new Super Mario Brothers physics, they are getting completely well, the accessibility is completely different for those because you don't have all the weird things that happen with the original SMB. But what are your experiences with the first one?
I absolutely love Super Mario Brothers 1. It is how I fell in love with gaming. It is why I am a platform gamer at heart with a dash of action RPGs. But yeah, Super Mario Brothers 1 was my introduction to gaming, to it being hard, to learning how to deal with certain physics. Also to like how to do shortcuts in the like find secrets in games, even though I didn't find them back then. This was most likely told to me through Nintendo Power, as that was the way how we found out back in the day how to do secret stuff. Um, but yeah, Mario 1 is just such a just the music itself just makes me happy.
Very true.
Just brings me back to my childhood, and to this day I still enjoy like the NES soundtrack can get soundtracks sometimes can get a bit jarring, but I've never experienced that with any of the Mario soundtracks. They're just still they did so much with how little they could do, I feel.
Mm.
But yeah, it's such a delight just learning that you jump on your enemies. You when you're big, you can break blocks. When you're small, you can't. Um, and everything was for its day so new and shiny. Like if you, I don't know how Mario One feels, and one of the other people will most likely be able to fill this in. going back from other platformers, because I've only seen the forward progression in platformers, where especially the difference between Mario 2, 1 and 3, which we'll touch upon later. It's such a world of difference that the Ori developers used it as a like you have Ori and the Blind Forest, and the developers themselves said that the Ori and the Will of the Wisp is what Mario 3 is to Mario 1, which set a really high bar that if we ever do an Ori episode, I'll discuss how I feel they didn't reach that bar, but that's a sidetrack. But yeah, it's such a monumental difference. But I'm very curious how that feels going back to it, knowing that you're going back to like the origins of platforming and art, especially Mario platforming.
Yeah, you have a good point with the soundtrack there. And well, I've been playing Super Mario Land quite often in the last few days, and I'm not getting bored of that either, right? In a lot of the Mario
Game Boy is
games.
even harder.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the Game Boy chiptune can get grating, even though Game Boy is used like as a synth. The sound chip is really good, but and even with that Mario soundtrack, it's like, yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, they just
good.
flow through. Yeah.
Do we think it was grating back then, though? Because I don't think I have memories of my parents telling me to turn the blasted Game Boy off or the blasted everything was a Nintendo off. And and it was because the music was just on loop, on loop, on loop. And for, them, that was really obnoxious. But for me, I think it did its job of keeping me hooked and focused in and all that. I don't think it was grating back in the day.
I know for sure
that it is now.
There were games from back in the day where I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna turn down the volume myself.
Really?
Especially for the NES and the Game Boy. But the ones I played most, which were Mario games or Tetris, the soundtrack, I can still listen to that soundtrack now and be like, this isn't too bad. But if like going back to, for both systems, going back to Hook, that just gets on your nerves real quick, the soundtrack at some point.
Yeah.
To speak to what Ras was talking about going like back to Mario 1 physics from a new age person. I'm a wannabe platformer. Like I really, really love platformers, but I'm not great at them. And I started my platforming life in earnest quite a bit later. Like Campy, my first Mario game that I actually ever played was either Super Mario for the SNES or the Game Boy one, whichever one came out first. I don't know. But I didn't really, I don't know. I guess I'm used to like current platforming stuff.
Yeah.
And going back, Mario 1 is so hard. I've been playing it on the Nintendo Online Duber on the Switch, and it feels like, I guess, slippery, if that would be accurate.
Yeah.
And I feel like
slippery and rigid at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe even.
Yeah, I don't know. I do like the actual jumping, I guess. Like the control that you have over the jump itself is fine, I think, but the landing, I'm just all over the place. And then of course, you think that you're going to fall off the edge, and so then you jump again, but then you're pushing to the right, but you think you're not going to make it, so you try to go left. And yeah, it's definitely, it's difficult going backwards. I wouldn't say it's necessarily unenjoyable, because I think I've watched so many retrospectives and like speed running this and whatever, that I'm enjoying the difficulty. But it's a lot.
Yeah, I think one of the big things with that is also that the developers never intended you to go back, right? The screen scrolls in only one direction, which compared to anything that came after Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Land for the Game Boy is no longer the case. You can move backwards in the level if you want to, right? Not that it is really necessary for a lot of stuff, but hey, you forgot to pick up a power up, or you intentionally didn't pick up a power up, you go a little bit further, you got hit by an enemy, oh, you can go back and grab that. That's not a case in Super Mario Brothers, unless it is still on the same screen that you're currently on and just slightly off to the left. So yeah, my feeling is that the movement was just intended to go forward, just go right. That's it, right?
Yeah, it kind of plays like a book in a way, like same thinking, like you go in like one direction and you rarely go back. I think that Super Mario Bros. 1 is one of the coolest games ever. Not only did it help to save video gaming from like being a fad in the 70s and 80s, but it also carries so much meaning for so many gamers and in multiple communities as well. Like if you had if Super Mario Brothers was a cake, it would have so many delicious layers to love and nerd about. Like it has the perfect introduction stage. Who doesn't love World 1-1? It's a stage that has been paid homage to in so many different games. And you also have the Bowser battles as well. Like those are so iconic. Probably one of the most iconic boss battles on the entire NES. Standing on a bridge, you have to find your way to jump over Bowser and jump on the axe to defeat him.
The first time that he throws hammers at you. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Oh, that's a heartbreak when you realize that.
The first time you figure out that he can get hurt by fire flowers.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's super cool. And then you realize, because like when you hit him with the fire flower, he kind of turns into an enemy.
Yeah.
After
he turns into the enemy that's disguised as Bowser for that castle.
Yeah, that is so freaking cool. We talked about the controls as well. Although, like, I agree with the slipperiness of if you jump back to this game, there was something special as well with just how this game handled momentum. Because in many games, you were like running and you would just immediately like hit a wall if you stopped running. But with Mario, he takes a few steps after you just let go of the buttons and the D-pad. Like he slows down a little bit. And it was also very cool how this game handled that. Oh, I have a long jump ahead that I need to move back a little bit, and then I can gain momentum, and then I can clearly make that jump. That was super cool. You have the iconic boings as well. Those are everywhere. I love those.
Yeah.
And you also have well, just the platforming, really. It felt like Nintendo really just perfected 2D platformer straight away with this game. Like even today, it feels so freaking good playing the game. It has its things here and there, like including the slipperiness, like slipping off the platform or something like that. But other than that, it's just so satisfying to play this game. And the game also opened up this like kind of a new idea back then, gameplay wise. It's like 8 worlds of obstacle courses, survive them all, and that's it. It's a brilliant, fun idea. Then you also have and then you also have the music that we talked about, which has some of the most legendary tunes in video gaming. Some people even know, like, oh, this is Super Mario, but they've never played a Mario game. Like, do 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 do. It's like, oh, that's Mario.
Yeah.
Never played a Mario game. It's really, really cool. Including like Goombas and Koopa Troopas, like the enemies. People have seen those and be like, yeah, that's in a Mario game, but they never played a Mario game. And also, you know, we all love secrets in video games. And this game also had a lot of secrets with like where you could find the beanstalks, for example. And if you knew back in the day about like the beanstalks, you were of royalty.
You were the cool kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Knowing
walking around in the schoolyard, and you'd be like, oh, that kid, he knows the beanstalk in 4 too.
Yeah. Especially like the beanstalk in 4 too. That one's hard.
That one's hard to find.
Because when I replayed Mario 1 for this this recording, like I replayed all of them before we recorded this, and Mario 1 I was like, I'm gonna take all warps, so it's gonna be like 10 minutes. especially because I replayed a different game that we'll probably discuss next before. So
Yeah.
this was slightly easier to replay, but like trying to remember where that warp was in 4.2 and not because there's one hidden block that you can hit, and then you can't trigger the warp unless you're small. You need to take damage because if you get the wrong hidden block, you there's one block difference between where you hit the warp, and it's a lot of fun. And like the first warp is where you walk across the top of the level. It felt like
I love that.
cheating, and then it turns out to be intended.
Yeah, exactly. So good.
And speaking of pixel perfect as well, with more secrets and everything, you also have the wonderful glitchy side to it as well. The minus world, for example, like you either slide through the wall or slide right through the pipe, pixel perfect. Like you don't go in the pipe, but you kind of just like whoop, a little bit, and then you go right through, and then you get to a pipe that is like the warp pipes that take you to world 2, 3, and 4. But instead, they take you to the minus world, which is super, super cool. And on top of that, you also have, like, in speedrunning, it's also, like, has such pixel perfect prestige.
Flagpole glitch.
Speedrun that game.
Yeah, flagpole with bill glitch and all of them. I mean, the speedrun is 454 at the moment, is it?
Yeah,
and they're measuring.
Recently lowered it again.
Yeah, they're measuring this in frame rules. If you want to learn about buses, go and look up frame rules.
Actually,
imagine
frame rules are done now because they've already got all of the frame rule levels at task perfect, but played by a human. Now they're measuring in frames on 8. Is it 4? 8.4?
Yeah, 8.4 is the only level where the frame rules don't apply. Yeah. It's when you hit the flag. The current world record is 2 months old, which is wild in itself. It is 4 minutes 54 seconds, 54.565. The previous world record was 4 minutes 54.864.
That's milliseconds.
Yeah,
that's frames.
It's so crazy. Who's the current world record holder again? Is it Niftsky or?
Niftsky is the current world record holder.
If you want one recommendation out of this, pause the podcast right now and look up Niftsky's speedruns. I mean, this guy's.
You'll be back here in less than 5 minutes.
And this is also a like actual hardware isn't required for speedrunning.
Yeah,
because the world record is done on emulator.
Which is for the NES
and keyboard, right?
Yeah, and keyboard. Nifty plays with keyboard as well. That's true.
Yeah,
but he's fully capable of doing it on a controller.
That's
as well.
true. Yes.
He's proven that. Yeah. Yes. I think he's gonna match the TAS one day. I really do.
He is human TAS.
I don't know where the TAS is at, but it's probably frames.
Yeah,
it's
at
frames.
This point.
Yeah. And then you also have the combination of like the glitchy part and the speedrunning, and you have people speedrunning the minus world to pixel perfect. So that is also like just
it's
super cool.
Yeah. For such a simple quote unquote game, because the base premise, 8 worlds, few levels in each world, just go left to right. There's so much to this game. So yeah, Hampy. While I wouldn't 100% agree that they perfected the platforming with the very first game, because the iterations like we will talk about are insane as well. It is, I mean, it came out after the great video game crash, right? And everyone was, oh my god, video gaming, no, we don't want to be involved with that. And then to bring out a game where the formula is near perfect is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's such a solid foundation for platforming going forward. And the platformers that come out now that do not reach the bar set by Mario 1.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. I just want to touch on one last point. Have you ever played any platformers that are older than Mario games?
I mean,
I'm assuming
Donkey Kong Arcade.
Sorry?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Donkey Kong Arcade maybe is.
Yeah,
I've considered a platformer.
Where you technically you are playing Jumpman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. No, I was just
The only
thinking.
other one around from the era that I played was the Anna Sisters, which was a Mario 1 clone.
Yeah,
For the Commodore 64.
which is great in itself. And now Ras killed my surprise for the recommendations. Thank you very much. That's the third time that you mentioned the thing that I wanted to recommend. You got it.
It's a guessing contest at this point.
Yeah, it is. Guess
I
which
was
game.
so sure I wasn't going to recommend the same thing, and yet I still managed to throw it out there.
Yeah, okay. All right. I mean, that's fair. That's okay. I can deal with that. I can work this out.
You said you had 3. Let's see if I can knock the other 2 out as well.
But to close for Super Mario Brothers 1, this is definitely just one of the coolest games ever. Personally, I return to this at least once a year or two, like for an evening, just having fun. It's like replay value is eternal.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true.
I don't think I ever returned to Mario unless I have a reason like this podcast to Mario 1. I'm more inclined to return to 2 or 3. They
Fair.
mostly because the time frame when they were released, so I was older.
Yeah.
So they hold a bigger nostalgia maybe.
Yeah.
For me, it's actually going back to the Game Boy games because this is the childhood thing, right? So, but I have replayed basically every Mario game over the years, ever so often as well, with the exception of one, which is the next one that we want to talk about. Why is there a Super Mario Brothers 2 that is not Super Mario Brothers 2, and why is it so hard? Super Mario Brothers. Sorry?
I'm sorry. I forgot one thing about Mario 1 that I wanted to mention.
Okay.
Because it's something I found out last year. And I wonder if you guys know. Did you know that there is a continue function in Mario 1? If
Oh,
you press
yeah, that's right.
A, I think it's pressing A
On the
plus
title
start
screen.
on the
Yeah.
title screen, and you continue where you were when you game overed. I
That's
never knew
crazy.
that.
Me neither.
No, me
yeah,
neither.
that's very true.
The wonders of the internet.
The wonders of
Was
the
it
internet.
intended to be known? Like intended to be found, intended to be known? Do we know?
I feel probably, but I feel like they forgot to put it in Nintendo Power because
Right.
those are like that was Nintendo's way of letting people know these kinds of secrets, and I
Mhm.
feel like if it was in there, people would have known. Like because most people know that at some point that Zelda 1 has a save and quit function with the second controller. So
It's funny that like discovering things like that almost like 40 plus years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or closing in on 40 actually.
Yeah, that's
Right?
very true.
It's next year. Yeah.
So this year is for
or
the Japan.
technically
This year is for
this
the Japan
year.
release.
Technically this year for Japan. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
if I think they went with the 35th anniversary during the Japan anniversary.
I think
when
so.
did we get Mario 35?
Makes sense.
And when are we getting it back?
Uh,
I want Mario 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe with the Switch too. Who knows?
Sorry for sidetracking. Carry on.
No worries. No worries.
My new favorite Mario game.
Your new favorite Mario game. So why is it that hard? No, Super Mario Brothers. What we know as the Lost Levels is the actual sequel to Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers 2. In Japan at least, was released 1986, so a mere year after the game was released in Japan, the original one. And it was also released for the Famicom disk system, so it was not even on the cartridges themselves. You needed to have the disk adapter for that. And it was, at some stage, released for us, which was during the Super Nintendo era, as it was thrown into the Super Mario All-Stars as the Lost Levels. It introduces a few new things. We have a little bit more. We have a little bit of graphical update. The stages look a tiny bit more polished in a way, with the backgrounds having a little bit more detail than in the original one. But overall, it's basically the same game in the same engine, with a few more things that they've thrown into, like the poison mushroom making you small again, or the springs that just catapult you into the air, wind, all the good things, all the perfect platforming things that you would want to have from a Mario platformer, right?
Oh man.
Wind is definitely my least favorite platforming mechanic ever, and it keeps coming back in every single game that I like. Celeste.
For example, yes.
For
When they
example.
when they threw that weird wind mechanic in Mario Maker 2, I was yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay, wind. So what do you guys think about it?
I mean, if there was a game that kind of introduced the idea to Kaizo Mario, it's probably Lost Levels.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, I'm not a Kaizo person. I don't really like games that are like tough straight out of the gate. So understandably, when I return to All-Star Collection every year, I do skip Lost Levels. But don't get me wrong, it is a great game. It's just one of the hardest Mario games ever, still to this day. Because even if it ends at the usual 8 worlds, you also get like
World
A1
9.
and all the stuff like that. World 9 as well.
Yeah, World 9 was fun.
It just keeps going.
Yeah, because then you could just keep looping in World 9, I think, is what I found out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten that far. I gave up after World 4. I was like, I'm satisfied with this. I beat Bowser for the 4th time, or I'm done.
I had a lot of fun replaying it recently, like a ton of fun. I think there are 2 ways to play this game and still have fun, unless you're really good at Mario, and it's either Nintendo Online or an emulator that has a rewind function.
Very
Yes.
Rewind
absolutely.
functionality and just placing yourself like quite a. If you die, I always went either back to the starter level or just somewhere to before the trick where I died.
We do have the
Just-
tools today to make some of the older games fun. That is true.
Yeah. Especially because I barely got any 1-ups. I think I ended the game with 7 lives because I like every death I rewound. So I think I wouldn't have made it to the end and I would have been frustrated. But just the ability to either with infinite lives or the ability to rewind after a death, it's actually a really fun game where it's challenging. And I like Mario Maker, and my level in Mario Maker is about like the between the 2 and the 5% clear rate levels, like the expert clear level, which I feel most levels in this game fall or would fall.
True, true.
It's like the perfect skill level for me, but if you get the frustration that we would have gotten back in the day with if you game over, you game over. And it might have also had to restart the continue function. I don't know, but yeah, it's a really fun game. If you really like Mario 1, I recommend giving it a go. But do like use rewind and save states.
Yeah, because you have everything that you that you love about Super Mario Brothers 1. It picks up immediately where you left it off. Essentially, thus the difficulty, I assume.
Yeah.
The fact that they added like the poison mushroom was like a statement in a way that Nintendo doesn't make cute, colorful games for kids. It's
it's also one of the first mushrooms you encounter, like in World 1.
Yeah,
the first one you find in a place where you would expect a mushroom. It's a poison one, and then slightly later, a normal mushroom is hidden.
What a way to make another! What a way to make another introduction level, right? You collect the mushroom, you're like, yay, and then you pick up the poison mushroom. It's like, oh no.
If you're gonna introduce a mechanic like that, introduce it immediately.
Yeah.
I think my only real memory of Lost Levels is also through All Stars, and I think it's what firmly cemented my older brother as like a gaming deity, because he could play Lost Levels and I would just watch. I think like very much the classic picture of me holding the second controller that's not plugged in kind of thing. And yeah, he was just able to play it, and it was cool to see. And he's forever a better gamer than me, even though now I think I could kick his butt. But yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
It makes me happy in a way, though. We're gonna get to the Western version of Super Mario Brothers 2, but it kind of makes me happy in a way that we got that. Because also like they were, I'm thinking like what ifs because they turned Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad, which are the playable characters in the Western version of Mario 2. They turned that into like a cartoon in the West. So it's like a question of like, would have Mario been as popular if we got that really hard Super Mario Brothers 2?
Yeah.
Because if they would have kept, like, I'm thinking like, what would have been next if they would have kept on releasing Mario games like that? Just keeping the formula, what kind of would have turned into like the Mega Man games for the NES, which they are good, but who knows if they would have not, like, Nintendo would have not approached Mario with an experimental side like they do now, like always thinking, what is Mario going to do next? Oh, he's going to go-karting. Oh, he's going to play golf. He's going to space.
He's becoming an elephant.
Don't know if
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Make your dreams come true.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
so I always think about that what happened if Lost Levels like was released in the West, because they, after that, maybe they would have made Mario 3, but maybe people would have not bought it as much because they were then again left maybe with the feeling that, video games, oh no, that this game is too hard, I don't understand this, so I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah.
And it also cemented the idea that it's not like the sequel can be different in a way, while still because like we'll probably head over to that game soon, so I'll wait for Red Mage to throw us over to that game before we go into it too much.
Yeah. I just want to, as some final words for the Lost Levels. It's the way that it was released as the Lost Levels, right? Not as Super Mario Brothers 2, was, I think, the right move for it. Yes, it is, and based on how it was done, it is a continuation of Super Mario Brothers. You can see it basically as another, how many levels is it, 52 or something in total, addition to the original Super Mario Brothers. And if you look at it, right, if you look at from start of 1 to the end of Lost Levels, you have a steady increase in difficulty, right, with a slight dip at the start of 2, or at the start of the Lost Levels, but then immediately ramping up even higher, which reinforces that the idea of it being the idea for Kaizo, right? So with that in mind, I do think that the way that it was done for us in the West, where we got a completely different game as Super Mario Brothers 2, was actually the best way that they could have walked this. And yeah, we will never know if that was part of their decision making back then, but yeah. But let's talk about Super Mario Brothers 2, or Yumi Kojo Doki Doki Panic, however you want to call it. That game was then released in 1988 as a Western release only, and is, as the name says, right, it is or as we said before, it is a reskin of a different game that was developed back then for the platform. And it is completely different. Like, Hampy, you were already saying that we have playable characters all of a sudden. In the end, you get that lovely scenario that it was all a dream, which is, if you look at it from the original title, Yume Kojo is Dream Factory translated to English. So Dream Factory Heart Pounding Panic is the translated title, which it does make sense that it is a dream sequence in the end. But yeah, we're getting introduced to multiple playable characters. We're getting introduced to new enemies. We're getting introduced to new boss fights. I mean, my favorite addition to this game was Shy Guys. I mean, who doesn't love to hate those, right? Especially when they come back in later games as well. But yeah,
we're quite the Shy Guys ourselves, so can identify with them.
Even though it was a lot of the enemies weren't Mario enemies, they became part of like the established Mario lore, especially Shy Guys who make a reappearance a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so interesting to think. Like, there it almost feels like many characters accidentally joined the Mario universe
Yeah.
here, like Birdo as well,
Mm.
who
yeah,
was in
Birdo,
Doki Doki Panic.
Pokies.
Yeah, Bob-ombs, I think, maybe.
This one, one didn't have bombs either.
No.
But I'm not sure now were there were bombs. I think the concept of bombs, but they didn't get legs until Mario 3.
True,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's right.
But Ninja as well, who
Right, yeah, ninjas.
was left out since forever, and then Mario Maker 2 kind of resurrected them again in a way of like Ninja speedruns, which was a brief thing they did. And then in Mario Wonder, it became a playable character for like the super easy mode.
Now he's going to be in Mario Kart World. Look at him go.
Everybody's going to be in Mario Kart World.
Yeah.
It's just
Penguin.
insane how many guys
Cow.
are going to be in Mario Kart World.
Yeah. But yeah, Super Mario Brothers 2, the one we got here in the West, it is completely different from the first one. And yeah, obviously because it is a reskin. And I really like the idea with playable characters. They didn't really revisit that again until like Super Mario 3D World for Wii U, I think, when they kind of brought those characters back again. And it's really funny that like they didn't just include them like, hey, you can play as different characters, but you can also like they have different meanings, so to speak, or character traits. So, well, Mario is all around good, as he's always is, freaking best at everything.
Just the most bland of them all.
Yeah, and then you have
average.
then you have Luigi who like scuttles with his legs to jump higher. That was always my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, I always thought he looked funny. He wasn't the best character to play, but I was like, oh, look at his legs go.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where Yoshi's Flutter Jump was born.
Oh,
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And then you could play as Peach as well. That was my favorite because you could.
that was my
Yeah,
favorite.
exactly. I think
So
everyone
it made the game so much more easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone
Then you
wanted
could
to
play
do
as
that.
Toad because why not?
Gotta go
No, but
fast.
Go fast.
he picks up items.
Toad goes
he picks up
fast.
items fast from the ground as well.
So
Yeah.
Toad is slower, but once he carries something, he's the quickest of them all.
Yeah,
Which is why speedrunners love Toad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I do think that Super Mario Brothers 2 can be a little bit repetitive in some cases because you fight like Birdo 5 times or something like that. But then they counter that as well with one time where you think you're about to fight Birdo, but you should not kill him because you need one of their eggs to travel across the water to progress. So that's pretty cool. There's also secrets in the game with like warp pipes and everything, although they work a little bit differently in this one, but still very, very cool. And personally, I think, because I need to mention this dream thing, I think this is my least favorite Mario game in the trilogy for me, because I'm a theater guy, and I think that the story and the ending sucks. I know who plays Mario for the plot, who plays Pokemon game for a plot, who plays Donkey Kong for a plot. I do.
Yeah, same.
I care.
I liked the story of Mario 1. 2, I believe. I mean,
Oh, you like the dream
but-
thing?
because you're saving the dream world. It's not just a dream. There are stakes. Like Subcon is in danger from Ward, and all the happy thoughts and things are locked up.
Yeah.
Okay, but because in the beginning of Mario 2, it is like he's dreaming in the beginning, and then he wakes up because someone in his dreams are like, "Hey, I need help, save us." Then he wakes up and he finds a cave close to where he is, and it's like, "Oh, the dream world is real." but then he wakes up at the end again. So is he dreaming within a dream, or
something like that? It's very fair.
Cue the Inception.
But it worked as a kid.
yeah.
I mean, the main message you can take from the final boss is vegetables are bad for you.
Yeah, been following that since I was a kid.
Because you have to throw vegetables in the mouth of the final boss, and that's the only way how to kill him.
Vegetables are the reason why I did not play this game. I never even really understood that it existed as a kid. I think we just didn't bother with it on that All-Stars version. Or at least I don't remember it. Maybe I've blocked it out. But I did try to go back and play it on the NSO. And this is just me being a not good platformer gamer. I didn't have the ability to figure out what the buttons were. Just to like squat down and pick up stuff and then throw it. My hands just can't do that. And I think it's the simplest thing in the world, and I hope that everybody gets a good laugh at my expense. But
I feel a more modern game would use at least 3 buttons. A different one for like carrying, picking up, and running.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, I tried it, I floundered, and I failed.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Super Mario Brothers 2 it's not an easy game itself, right? I remember that for a stream that Tony did in the past about launching rockets. I replayed Super Mario Brothers 2 for her to show the path to the one rocket in SMB2, and did I have a hard time to get there? Oh my god! I initially played it on the original NES release, and then I said, nope, screw this. We're going with the All Stars version, and I don't even know which exactly one I settled on, in order to say, yeah, this is the best way to go at it to make sure that you don't die before. But yeah, it's not an easy game either.
Wasn't it like an ice snowy level or something like that?
Oh yeah, ice physics.
Yeah,
it introduced us to Mario ice physics. But I really like this game. Like, also I was in the position where I had no choice. There was a new Mario game. There was only one new Mario game. I didn't have the luxury of playing this on the All Stars version, and I could just skip ahead to quite possibly still one of the top 3 Mario games of all time. I had to play 2, so I learned to enjoy it. But also, compared to 1, it was much more vibrant. Just the entire color, the entire like color scheme was slightly more. Which it was for my at that point 7-year-old brain. It did good things.
Which is actually the same thing if you look at SMB1 and Lost Levels, right? With the slightly updated colors and graphics that you had between those two. Because whenever I see a screenshot or whenever I'm trying to pick something together for showcasing something, I unconsciously drift towards an SMB2 screenshot just because of the colors looking so much better than the original. But yeah, that is then with the Western Mario Bros. 2 is taken to a whole new level.
I think. Tony, you go first.
I'm gonna go. SMB2 clearly was on the NES. Why? You've just made me realize, like, why was the Mario 1 color scheme so meh? I'm thinking back to it.
Because it was new.
They just weren't as experienced in developing for it, I guess.
Probably, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. That's all.
It was also maybe also because it was slightly geared towards a Western market, while Doki Doki Panic was initially made for a Japanese market. Maybe
makes sense.
That's speculation, but
yeah,
makes sense, including Italian plumber or
Yeah, and if you see how the NES looks, which is a gray brick, because that is what they thought would appeal to the Western market, and it did. So in their defense, it did. They did realize with the Super Nintendo that the European market also liked colors. They didn't really realize that yet for North America.
I wonder if they specifically made it gunmetal gray.
Well,
My favorite color that exists.
Maybe, but
they made it look like a VCR. That was the idea. They
Yeah.
because if you look at the original Famicom with its
top loaded.
It's top loaded. It has this dark red color accents on a beige system, and then you come to the Western release of the NES, and it's a gray VCR with a front loading thing, and insanely large cartridges compared to the Famicom. So yeah.
Yeah, I like those big cartridges, actually. It's even if it barely makes up half of what's inside, it's still very fun to just like
having
one.
open top one is like, why are they this big?
Yeah.
I mean, I may throw some shade on this one because of the story, which I think is like, wait, is it a dream? Are you in a dream? Are you waking up from a dream? What's happening? I still love Super Mario Brothers 2. Even if it's my least favorite of the trilogy, I still play it every year when I pick up the when I turn on the All Stars collection.
Fair.
I think also like because Mario kind of got a little bit of like the ingredients of like the wackiness as well. I feel from this game, because because the first one I can't really. It was also really hard to kind of like pick some wackiness from that one, other than like, hey, you're jumping on turtles. But this one, I felt like it was like a little bit more, whoa, could be a little bit more wacky. So I really like that about Mario 2.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense.
And the boss fights were so much better than Mario 1's boss fights.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, the bigger ones that are not Birdo. I'm just like freaking Birdo. But yeah,
Birdo.
that's right. You have Mouser, you have like the 3-headed dragon. Yeah.
You have Birdo after almost every level, and then you have Mouser, the dragon, the
and
other
one more
guy. I don't know. I used warps for the one I did, so I had Mouser, the other guy, and the final boss, Wart.
Yeah, gotta say, bring back King Wart to some Mario games. Haven't seen him in
put him in Mario Kart World.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, that would be a good inclusion there, for sure.
Toadie's googling if he's in Mario Kart World.
I'm just googling who it is.
Oh.
But yeah, I recognize him now. Yeah. He absolutely looks like he belongs in a Mario Kart.
He's the one that dies from eating
Bowser
vegetables.
So yeah, we got a different game than the Japanese market got, which was really good in terms of how we experienced the series. And as we mentioned, I do think that it has shaped the series way more than it, or the series has become way more because of it than without it, right? Than it could have been without it. But before we go to the last game in the big NES trilogy for Mario games, I have a few, let's call it honorable mentions, that are Mario games on the NES that are showing also more the experimental character. The two more experimental ones would then be Dr. Mario and the Yoshi game, which in a way is also a Mario title, right? Because the European release of this is called Mario and Yoshi. So, going to the doctor, how was your experience with viruses and stuff?
I loved Dr. Mario. It's such a fun take on the Tetris genre.
Yeah. That was my immediate thought when I played it for the first time. It was like, ooh, this is like Tetris, but fun.
Yeah, it's different.
I love
because
Tetris. I also really
enjoyed Tetris, but it was, it was different because your goal wasn't to clear lines. Your goal was to get rid of the viruses.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I got as a child because I never really got the game as a kid. Like I really understood what I had to do. But having revisited it a few times since, I have, and I always enjoy playing it.
Hot take. I'm not a huge fan of Tetris, but that's mostly because I'm awful at it. It's the same reason I don't love Pac-Man. I'm just the worst.
Damn.
I can't clear level 1 on either of them. But my hubby is a big Dr. Mario fan. And I tried it very recently because of him. I had never played any Dr. Mario before. And I find it much more digestible as well. And just like Ras said, I prefer the having to clear the viruses thing rather than having to clear lines. It just, my little like management GUI brain, tactical brain enjoys that. And yeah, I would pick up a Dr. Mario game again, probably before I would pick up the second or third Mario for the NES.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, them's fighting words.
That's
No.
that's a bold statement.
It's a reflection of my skill level, not a reflection of the quality of the games, I think. So for
Fair.
someone with a lower skill level, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I mean, that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like Dr. Mario.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we're back. We're back to that.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I can understand people not liking Dr. Mario. It's not Mario 3.
No, yeah, that's true. But I like Tetris, but it was just something with Dr. Mario. I think it was my patience. Because of like, if you try to get the right color and everything, and then you miss that, it takes so much time to get rid of that color that's in the way, rather than like Tetris, you can kind of just like
fair,
and it's gone. You can save yourself. So in Dr. Mario, took a lot more time to like strategize, like, oh, I should drop, and my brain can't think that fast, like, oh wait, I need that color there, but I also need the color there, and then if I put it that way, then it drops down. And yeah, I think it was like my patience run dry playing Dr. Mario, but I still play it every now and then, because it's just it's a puzzle game. It is a brilliant puzzle game. It really is. So I just find myself to return to it to also remind myself that I still don't have the patience of getting rid of all the colors that are in the way.
Yeah, and then we have the Yoshi game, which is basically the same.
Yeah, what is this?
Even easier than that. It's the Yoshi game is
it's a match 3 game where you can also trap stuff in a Yoshi egg, and it's I did not enjoy playing it.
Yeah,
I did end up playing it for like half an hour. It's just called Yoshi.
Yeah, it's just called Yoshi.
Is this Yoshi's first year?
No, second. It's released a year after Super Mario World, but it released on the NES instead of the Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
got it. Understood.
There's also Yoshi's Cookie, which released around the same time, also on the NES and the Super Nintendo at the same time, and which is also a match something game. I'm glad Yoshi's games that he got for himself went in an entirely different direction.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
We had Yoshi's Cookie for the SNES. Yeah, that's super familiar to me. Yeah.
You have another interesting what if there. I don't remember if it's the entire Mario Yoshi thing, or if it's just like the Game Boy port or the NES. I don't remember, but one of them were very instrumental in the funding of the first Pokemon games for like Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. And
oh yeah, because Yoshi was from Game Freak.
Yoshi is
I did see this when I was looking up.
Yeah.
It's a Game Freak game.
So if it wasn't for that game and it went pretty well, then we might have not have had the Pokemon games.
Yep.
You are blowing my mind right now.
Yep. It's
that's so cool.
It's a Game Freak game. So the reason why it's on my list here for the Mario games on the NES is because the name for the game in PAL regions is Mario and Yoshi. So in order to make it sell better, they tacked Mario onto the title for the European release, basically.
smart.
Still,
Yeah.
something this early on for Nintendo to borrow some of their characters to a third-party developer.
Yeah.
That didn't have the rapport yet that Game Freak built up later with Pokemon and them making a company together. And basically, this is back when Game Freak was still a gaming magazine, mostly, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at screenshots, like you've got Goombas in there and the piranhas and the boos. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I played it one time for like 20 minutes or something. Be like, okay, now I understand this.
Yeah, exactly.
I played it to prepare for this episode, and I was done with it after 5 minutes, but I just couldn't put it down.
Yeah, exactly. In my
because it's so easy that it's very hard to game over. I'm like, I'll play this until I game over, and you just don't.
Yeah, you just don't. It's you probably also
brag much.
like myself entered into the A-type game and not the B-type game. The A-type game is basically the infinite game, like you have it in Tetris as well, where
I think I did
just falling stuff. B-type is clearing certain things, which makes it a little bit more interesting, but at the same time, it's still still a very simple game.
Yeah,
Fun,
it doesn't really speed up.
Yeah.
Is it on NSO? Do we know off the top of our head?
Yeah, because I played
should
it on
be.
NSO.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited to go back and try this. Neat.
And then
just after we all said, it's not great yet. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna try this.
It's still fun for a couple of minutes, so it's not bad, right? I mean, and it's a Game Freak game.
It's worth if you never played it. It's a Game Freak game, so if you like history,
yeah, exactly.
That's why I'm excited. Yeah. You've just opened up like a giant world for me, going back and learning that Game Freak has done literally anything other than Pokemon. So
there you go. And then we have one more title that was released on the NES outside of the big one that we still haven't covered, and that is the Mario Brothers arcade re-release, which I was blown away when I first learned that Mario had an arcade release, and that had its origin there, and initially was also somehow marketed as a Donkey Kong game, which I found really weird to read about. But you probably have seen it yourselves. The one stage, two characters, few pipes, and then enemies coming out of the pipes, and you just jump under them in order to kill them and gain score, which is quintessential arcade, right? But yeah.
Campy, did we play this in Donkey Kong 64? Is that why I know this?
It's in Mario 3.
Yeah, it is in Mario 3.
That's where I played it back in the day, because
same.
It was a battle mode, and it was the way how your big brother could steal your turn away from you.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like you moved to the start space, if I remember correctly.
You just
then
need
you
to
had
be
that
on the
little
same
secret.
space.
You move to where the other dude's space is, and even like the non-active player can start it. So I was always Luigi, so Mario could just keep spamming A, and if you walk past, you start the minigame, and then the winner of the minigame gets the turn.
Wow, that is incredible to think about, that they included that in Mario 3.
Yeah, what used to be
my
its very
introduction
own
to
game.
this.
Yeah, just throw it in there.
Yeah,
I replayed it on NSO, and it is what it is. It's an arcade game.
Yeah,
it gets harder eventually. Your lives don't carry over to the next stage, so eventually you'll need to add a new quarter to continue.
Yeah, I mean, I can see myself going to play this in an arcade if I would have grown up in that time, right? But looking at it from a console player perspective, it was like it is with Yoshi. It's a very, very simple premise, and there is not really much replay value for yourself in just going in there and trying that out.
Yeah. High scores only count in an arcade.
Exactly. We don't really fight for high scores these days.
Yeah.
But that brings us then to probably the biggest game in this trilogy plus extras, Super Mario Brothers 3. Again, a development by Shigeru Miyamoto, Takashi Tezuka, R&D for Nintendo. They brought out the original Super Mario Brothers. They brought out this game. It came out in 1989. If I'm not completely sorry, my notes are completely lost on me right now. But yeah, it got so much promotion for it. 1989 in 1988 in Japan,
1988 in Japan,
and 1990
1990
in the US,
and-
and then and Canada, and then 91 for us.
90.
So we had a very late release with it.
Wow.
Yes.
I was
3 years.
9 when it was released, and this is one of the releases that I remember. One of my first video game releases where I remember seeing ads, especially because we already had at that point the cartoon. I think it feels like, at least before I played it, I saw the cartoon. Because Mario 3 there was a continuation of the cartoon for basically Mario 2, which was for Mario 3. Or it kind of crossed over or something, but there were Mario 3 elements in the cartoon at some point. And I was really looking forward to this game coming out. I had the Nintendo Power with the Mario, Tanuki Mario on the cover. It's one of the iconic covers of Nintendo Power. And this was such a good game. It was such a step up for the entire genre. It is quite possibly one of the games on the NES that makes the most out of the system. It was a late life game. Nintendo's really good at releasing a game near the end of a life cycle that just pushes the console to its limit.
And beyond, yeah. It's
And
such
beyond,
a
yeah.
good game.
It's-
And it has so many good things that the game introduced. So
Yeah. I gotta say, because there was a time in my life where I was like, I'm gonna find the top 100 NES games, and I played I think I'm up to a little over 900 NES and Famicom games, and still I have not played a game that beats this one. Super Mario Brothers 3 is probably the best NES game you could find, and such a remarkable just
It is.
milestone in gaming history.
I think it's on the top of almost every best of NES games list. It's either at 1 or at 2, depending on how much of a Zelda fanboy the person was that made the list.
Yeah, trying to be edgy, I guess. No,
And even
'cause
I will put Mario 3 above Zelda 1.
Yeah, same. And the fact that it still holds up as a just phenomenal 2D Mario game still to this day also shows like how good it is, and the recipe is still being used. Like you have items you can prepare for your next level. You can collect items and have that, and you have mini games in between, and you have toad houses to get new items. And with
Overworld.
and then you have overworld in all the worlds.
yes,
Yeah.
So that is so freaking cool.
just going onto a map,
Also-
seeing what's going on, having the option of skipping levels because you had branching paths and you had power-ups that work outside of a level that just lets you skip
the
a
cloud,
level.
for example.
Yeah.
The hammer.
And you had the hammer where you could also just explore the map and be like, oh, what happens if I
Break this
punch
rock.
this rock? Yeah, exactly. And then you find secrets. I remember so well World 2, up in the right corner, you have a rock
Yep.
there, you smash that and you get another flute.
Yeah.
That was
Yep.
just like, whoa, so freaking cool. And then you have like also secrets that you find years and years later. I don't think I know about the coin ship.
That was one
to,
of my questions that I had noted down. When you have played it, have you ever seen the coin ship yourself?
Yeah.
Once I played it in 2011, just like, oh, I'm gonna play some Mario 3. It's been a while, and that was 15 years. Like after I played it for the first time, like, what is that? It's like it's so cool that you find
It's such a
new,
rare
and you have
occurrence, yeah.
and you
We
have
had them
all of
back in the
this
day.
with like the arcade game included there, and you have like you can play 2 players, all that stuff in just a couple of 100 kilobytes. It is mind bending.
Yeah, it is insane how small, how much, just how much they fit in. Just the music alone, again, just fitting that in under 1 megabyte.
And having
That's
all
crazy.
the different enemies, right? I mean, the Koopalings, instead of just having Boom Boom at the end of a level, or having Bowser being impersonated by someone else, like we had it in 1, and all the other extras that they brought to it, all the power ups, right? I mean, we only had a fire flower up until then, but we got the frog suit, we got the Tanuki suit, we got the raccoon suit, which is, well, or which one is which, right? Tanuki is the one that people usually say is the one with the statue, right?
Tanuki's the
I
one with
think
the
that's the
statue,
Tanuki one.
and
Yeah.
the other feather, the raccoon feather, is
Yeah.
the one where you fly.
Exactly. And then you have
And
the
then
hammer suit as well, and
Yeah, which I never knew about until I started seeing speedruns of the game.
yeah.
Like
oh,
somehow,
cool.
because the hammer suit is hidden away, that like there's 2 in the game, I think. And somehow I never end, or I did end up with one, like the one you get from the Toad House. There's one
Yeah.
in Toad House, and I just never used it or something.
And then yeah, and then also the way that the game was opened up, right? Mario 1 is left to right. That's it, right? Mario 2, they at least with the Western release, they introduced vertical levels, right? We didn't talk about that for that, but they were also just mostly just vertical, right? You had a little bit of left and right that you could do, but you had the wraparound and everything. And then all of a sudden, Mario 3 came around, and you had games that where you would have height in a stage, even if it was still limited in height. You had more than just a left to right scroll. And
the reason behind that is the technical limitation. The entire system is drawn on like what you see on your screen, and then 4 times that. That's what it can draw, but the RAM can only hold 2 of those in its memory. And normally it would preload everything right before where your screen goes. So your screen either goes left to right or up to down. Metroid has it. Mario 2 also, like the sections there's some kind of transition between left to right and up and down.
Yeah.
And Mario 3 is like maybe one of the only games on the NES, at least one of the first games. Kirby is also one where you can also go diagonal, basically, and you get a weird little graphic glitch on the right side of your screen because of that. You get a little loading screen edge, and I really like that little factoid of like, this is how far we're pushing the hardware, that we can no longer hide our loading screen because we want to be able to go a third direction.
Yeah, very true.
I think Super Mario Bros. 3 is just one of the most defining games in gaming history, because this is also kind of like a milestone where, even though we had like World 1-1, World 2-1, and etc., this is really the entry where Mario was exploring different worlds. And he went from like the Sandland, and then he went to freaking an ocean, and then he went to heaven, and then he went to hell. It was like,
we got water
so
level
much
for the first time.
Yeah.
No. Whoa. Mario 1 had water levels. The entire world 2 of Mario 1 is water levels.
Transitional water levels. Sorry.
Yeah.
Where you jump in the water and don't die, basically.
Yeah. we had the combination of, indeed, out of water, in water.
Yeah, because I think like I mean, there are many games also follow this after, because I feel like a lot of the games on the NES, they stick to one world, or like, oh, this is the story, and they stick to that. There could be another game that could have experimented with, like, so to speak, going to different worlds, but this is definitely one of the most
Yeah, but Mario
It
2
happened
had
here.
it in a way, but it was less defined as in Mario 3 because Mario 2, like the second world was, I think, the desert world, or the third, and there was an ice world, but it was less defined as it is in Mario 3. What's everybody's favorite Mario 3 world?
That's a good question. I honestly, on a visual style, I would say the first one because I love the way that the first world shows you the stage mechanics because Mario 3 is a stage play basically,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
with having wooden platforms screwed everywhere, I like that aesthetic of it. The others are not bad, but I feel when it comes to um world is it world 4 3 4? Sorry, which one is the one with the
World 1,
big enemies? 4 4.
4.
Yeah.
Or
That took me out of it a little.
Really. My favorite world is World 4.
Oh, okay.
I just really loved the giant and small, and like the way they made everything bigger and made it feel that Mario was smaller. I really enjoyed that one.
Same. My favorite world is World 4. I would always use the flute and be like, I'm skipping. Screw the water world. I'm going to
Yeah.
World 4.
Screw
Yeah. That's least favorite Water World.
Yeah.
and World 3 because Angry Sun. Well, it's the desert too. Angry Sun. Anyway, Angry Sun level. That's
Yeah.
where I either use the cloud or another flute. I think it's 2, and 3 is water.
Yeah. What about you, Todi?
So my perspective of Mario 3 is that if I was gonna play a Mario game that like had an overworld and had these levels select and stuff, I would just play Super Mario for the SNES. Because my perspective is aged backwards. I never played any of these NES games as a kid, and Super Mario for the SNES was my first Mario game. So of course I fell in love with it long before I ever even knew that Mario 3 existed. So I'm just gonna play it instead. So I don't know. I fired up Mario 3 on the NSO and I closed it and went to the SNES one instead. I'm so sorry. Again, not a reflection of the game's quality in any way. Just a reflection of my Mario experience.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
you guys are opening my eyes. I'm very curious. I want to go see what that level 4 is because the way that you describe it, it makes me wonder if it was the inspiration for Little Big World in the N64 game. Small Big World? What was that one called? Where you could jump into
Tiny-
either of
Tiny
the two
Huge World.
paintings. Tiny
Yeah.
Huge World.
Oh,
it was-
yeah,
that was
that's true.
probably a reflection of World 4 of
Yeah.
Mario 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true, very true.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I didn't even know that the NES existed when I was a kid. So
Same, yeah.
I if it wasn't for the All-Star Collection, I would have missed these games as well. I would have
I
played Mario World.
I got this when it was launched, but then I was reintroduced to it when I got my Game Boy Advanced,
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's right.
which also has a re-release of SMB3, and it is, I think, to this day, it's at least one of my top 3 Mario games. 2D, like with Zelda, there's a difference between 2D and 3D games because there's such a different type of game. For 2D games, this one, like, it used to be Super Mario World and Mario 3, and they would both, like, depending on my mood, one of them would be my top one. But then Wonder came out, and Wonder is just so good that
Yeah.
that is still sitting at somewhere also on that top. It's like a shared top one between those games, and 3 is just it aged so well, like a fine wine. It's there's nothing where you're like this game is old and therefore it has certain stuff where you're like, oh man, why is this in here, which Mario 1 does have at some points. I just really love Mario 3.
I just
I'll say, even from my backwards perspective, I will agree with that. I don't boot up Mario 3 and think like, oh, this mechanic's old and outdated. That's not
Yeah.
any of the reason why I
Yeah.
am not quick to pick it up. It's just,
It holds no nostalgia for you.
yeah.
it's interesting comparing Mario games because I feel when we talk about like if we say compare Mario 3 to Mario World, for me, I like Mario World a lot because whenever I play Mario 3 in a way, I feel like I have to rely on building up items towards the end of the game. If I don't have backup items, I can't beat the Bowser world, and
World
then I'm
8
stuck.
is brutal.
Yeah.
I revisited it, and I did the full grabbing both warp pipes, warp whistles in World 1 to revisit. And I was like, man,
Yeah.
World 8 is so brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like I feel in Mario World, you can rely more of your like platform skills in a different way because
Mhm.
the game kind of stripped you away of like items again. You have what, 4, I think? You have the Fire Flower, the Cape Feather, Yoshi, and the star.
Yoshi is not an
essentially.
item. Yoshi is friend.
Yoshi is a tool to be used and discarded when needed.
Yeah,
Yep. Jump off him, get on that ledge.
exactly.
Send him
Yeah.
to
You need to
hell.
reach that jump, you need to reach that platform.
All the cruelty.
no, so that's
all the cruelty here.
that's how I feel about Mario 3 towards the end, but
Yeah.
I really enjoy because I rarely finish it, but I really enjoy everything it has to offer.
Yeah, my main gripe with replaying it is always World 8, and then especially the first few stages. Like, why just 3 other scrollers in a row that aren't
Yeah.
that challenging, but just challenging enough to take away a few of your lives? But mostly it's just you hugging the right side of the screen and knowing when there's a bomb being thrown in your face, so you go left for a bit.
Yeah, that's
Just skip those and go to the actual World 8 and maybe make some more levels in the actual World 8.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was replaying it the other day because of the changelog thing that Ras is preparing. I think we can talk about it because this comes out after. So
Definitely can talk about it. This comes out.
But
So this happened at the end of April.
exactly. So for me, it was I wanted to do a little bit of a speed run, and I said, "Oh yeah, I can actually do Super Mario Brothers 3," and then I actually went to it, and the auto scrollers they just don't work for my brain. Right? I know exactly what is coming. I know exactly where the things are, but I'm still struggling with them way too much to make this a consistent thing. And
Yeah.
and then after that, there's some hard levels still, which
Yeah.
is give me more.
The
of the hard
castle isn't
levels.
easy as well.
Yeah,
Like at least in the castle in the speedrun, you learn how to skip a good part because you just clip to the wall.
yeah, true.
It's the only free clip in the entire game.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
very
Which was fun to do when revisiting. I'm like, I don't know any speedrun stacks or glitches, but I know this one clip
yeah.
where you just stand up when you're standing on top of a hidden block.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I will say
Satisfying.
the love for me for this game also comes a little bit from the ROM hacking world as well. I mean, Super Mario
Oh, yeah.
World is way bigger in terms of the ROM hacks, but I have
sure.
played a few ROM hacks on Mario Bros 3, and genuinely they're my most beloved ROM hacks that I've played and finished because the game, because of all the mechanics that you have available, it opens it up so much more in a vanilla sense compared to Super Mario World, where they would have to mod in items and things in order to make it as much of a variation on the game. So
I say then you gotta recommend some hacks at the end of this episode.
oh, I can.
If you-
Yes.
If you are, you might step on my recommendation.
No, I hope
Ah.
Spoilers, mine is a Mario
Ah.
3 ROM hack.
I hope I won't, because there's one specific one, and I won't name it right now, that I have play tested before release. So
Yeah. It might be the one I'm about to recommend.
maybe we'll see. We'll see. I have my own. I have my
We'll
own
see.
recommendation, which is not. But I can name
Yeah.
one at the end for you, Hampy. Absolutely.
Nice. Because I'm gonna play some ROM hacks this summer, so
Ooh.
looking forward.
I love ROM hacks so
yeah,
much.
so good.
I sent
you wanna
one
hear
to
about-
Hampy, which is a Mario ROM hack for Pokemon. And
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Hampy playing that one.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. So looking so good.
Audience, if you want to hear about ROM hacks, please give this episode a good rating on your listening platform of choice. Rate it
Yeah.
7 out of 5 hacksaws, and that would be really great. Thanks.
Just give us all those superstars.
Yeah, 9 out of 7 spinny saw blades, please. Or no, sorry, that's the wrong game. Death Waffles.
That's the wrong game. That's Death Waffles.
5 out of 5 Goombas.
Or that. All right, that is it. That is our episode about the NES games that include our beloved protagonist Mario. So let's go for a round of recommendations then. I will give it to Ras because we do want to know what Ras's recommendation here is. So Ras, what do you have for us? What are we supposed to do?
So talking about ROM hacks and Super Mario 3 ROM hacks specifically, it is God, I should have looked up the name so I can specifically say it, but it is a Super Mario Adventure.
That's a good one, yeah.
I believe it is it was a ROM hack that was in development for 12 years. It adds
that one.
Yeah.
almost every power up that has been made in like that. It adds like 5-6 more power ups. It adds an XP system, unlockable skills.
It is a very chocolatey ROM hack.
It is basically Super Mario Brothers 3 2. It is a full blown sequel for the game,
Yes.
and then some.
It's
All right.
12 years
absolutely
is wild.
Yeah, it's really good. In case I got the name wrong, I will include a link in the description as well.
all right.
Nice.
So Hampy, what about you? What do you want us to play or do? What do you recommend?
Oh my god, because I missed it in the beginning of this episode. Like, oh shit, that's right, recommendations. But I gotta say, like, if we continue a little bit on, sure, it's a Metroidvania in the core of it all, but I gotta recommend Euphoria for the NES because,
So good.
yeah, it's really good. It kind of takes the formula from Mario 2. You have 4 playable characters. One is good at like climbing, one is good at swimming, and one is shooting like projectiles, stuff like that. And then you go around a very wacky world and you collect some power ups and stuff like that to fight the final boss. For me, it's one of the best platformers for the NES. So, and it also just got a sequel for like Switch and all consoles.
I've been meaning to try that after
Like 30 years later or something.
It's on my list. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also Euphoria 1 was like a Japan only release, wasn't it? I believe
it was released,
or it skipped Europe, or it skipped America. It skipped something.
Oh, it skipped America.
It skipped America
because it was called Habaraka in Japan, and we in Europe we got it as Euphoria the Saga.
And then America didn't get it for whatever reason.
Yeah. And then I throw in a little Mario recommendation as well. That Mario Golf Toadstool Tour for GameCube. Hopefully that drops on Switch too, because it is still the best, most atmospheric Mario Golf game.
Okay.
Really love that one. One of my favorite Mario games.
I'm looking forward to Mario Strikers dropping on Switch too. It's going to be one of the largest titles for the GameCube.
That's right.
I'm looking forward to all the GameCube releases for that platform. Absolutely. Yeah. Toady, what about you? What do you want us to play or do?
Word up. I don't want you to play anything. I want you to play what you want to play. But I will just throw out there, if you've got your old handhelds just vibing on storage on display somewhere, make sure your batteries aren't in them. Just take the batteries out. I've been, mucking around my office and stuff, and I remembered to take out batteries out of all of my stuff that will never be turned on again.
That is a good warning.
Very good.
Do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because I don't know if my batteries are still in my Guitar Hero controllers.
Right?
Mine have recently been made battery free. But yeah,
that's a very good.
In my DS died, and I should probably take it out.
Good reminder.
All right.
Yeah.
So, since my recommendation was already spoiled by Ras, because I was about to talk about the Great Gianna Sisters, which you definitely should go play. But my gaming recommendation then is one of the games that I fell in love with over the last 12, 13 years now, something like that, by a name of They Bleed Pixels, which is a retro style 16-bit graphic Cthulhu horror platformer. I love this game. I played it back in when it was new. I actually tried to get all the achievements for it at some stage. I gave up because the later levels are getting really hard, but it's such a fun game. It has a one button mechanic basically, which is great to see, right? Your different attacks and everything go just one way instead of having multiple buttons for playing that. And it came around the release time of Super Meat Boy, which overshadowed it, of course, because I mean that's the one that everyone knows. But They Bleed Pixels, great game.
Oh, cool.
And Hampy,
Yeah, I hear good things.
Same.
I have the Switch re-release in a Super Nintendo style package from what's the game company called again that does that?
Super rare game. Or
Yeah,
rare.
one of them. It's I bought this game like 5 times by this stage and gifted it to a few people as well.
That's cool.
But in terms of the ROM hacks, to give you a ROM hack, there is one out there by my good friend Wilson Penn that is called Get Up, Get Out, Get Good, which is a Super Mario Bros. 3 ROM hack that I helped playtest back in when he released it. Cool. So I was heavily involved in the development. I showed him how bad I am at the game. which is actually pretty good, because that way in World 2 there is a stage that doesn't take you 2.5 hours to beat it. Because in its initial release it took me 2.5 hours to beat it, and he said, "Nope, I'm not doing this. Then we're dumbing it down. Thank you very much."
Did you say get up, get out, get good?
Get up, get out, get good. With eyes in the name. But yes. And there is one stage that is basically my stage, because I said I hate note blocks, and there is a stage that revolves around jumping off note blocks.
Hey.
Worst.
That's a nice gift.
Yes.
A little side note on my recommendation. It is called Mario Adventure 3. No super.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the company that released the retro edition of They Bleed Pixels was Premium Edition Games.
Premium Edition Games. Yes, thank you. Yes, exactly. It's down there on the shelf. All right, that's it. How do we do outros again? We just all yell
Bye.
in the microphone. And...
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks for teaching me about the NES.
Thanks for listening.
It's
So
a Mario.
long, Bowser.